Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Red Light Sports Ramble, presented by the Red Light Sports Network. And you probably, for those loyal listeners, heard a new intro song today. The wonderful Evan Watallison, who's joining me today, has suggested a new song from Florida Georgia Line. So we played it today. I am Troy Otradovic. Evan, how'd you think that went with the new intro song?
I like it.
I like it too.
I like it. I like the Fall Out Boy, but I just like that intro to that particular song, and I'm like, I want to use it.
Hey, it sounded cool. It sounded cool. I was over here, dancing around in my chair. Thank God nobody could see me, because that definitely would go viral on YouTube with the crazy white guy sitting in his chair dancing. But today we're going to talk, it is Packer Tuesday. NFL free agency started today. A lot of things going on, but not really a lot of things going on. So there's a number of things we want to talk about.
NFL free agency started today, and based off what I'm seeing from some fans on Twitter, it seems like it's already ended too, because people are complaining that Ted Thompson hasn't signed anybody yet, and it's free agency's only 90 minutes in, and people are whining, you can't fix the defense only by the draft, and yada yada yada. Well, free agency just started. There's still a lot of guys out there, and people need to chill.
Yeah, just a little bit, huh? Just a little bit, because there's been some movement. And we'll talk about that today. But if people thought that all of a sudden the Packers were going to announce a signing at 5 o'clock Eastern time, they were nuts. It's not going to happen. I don't see them going out to overpay for anyone. We've talked about this a million times, Evan. What did they expect?
Mm-hmm.
We need to...
They expect Ted Thompson to throw money around at anybody that moves, apparently.
Well, we let's get into this and talk about some of the big money that got thrown out today. We were talking about it before the show. When we look at it, there has been some movement today. I mean, the most recent, I've got up two different websites. I'll let the listeners know. I'm on CBSSports.com, looking at an article, Eye on Football by Will Brinson. I really like his stuff, so I always go and find stuff that he writes. And I also have NFL.com/free agency up. Little bit behind when you look at the list they have, but on the top it talks about the signings. So there's been a lot of deals that have been reached already, Evan. But let's talk about, one of the biggest ones we're talking about, and that was the Cleveland Browns. Going out there and throwing some money around today, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
they are. Quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this afternoon. They've apparently reported, Dansby 4 years, $24 million. 14 guaranteed, $10 million in year one. And I don't see the numbers for Whitner, but they threw some money out at Whitner. So they're being pretty aggressive. What was that tweet that you had said to me before the show? You probably don't have it up, but if you can recall the gist of it, you and I had a good laugh at this. So share with the listeners that tweet that you had.
A tweet sent to me?
Yeah, the one about the Browns.
Or a tweet I sent to you?
No, the tweet that you had read that you hoped he was kidding. About the Browns and the money being thrown around?
Oh, somebody was hoping somebody was wishing the Packers were more like the Browns, the Jaguars, the Raiders, and the Bucks, who are throwing all this money around.
You know what? It sucks to be really bad when you're under the cap, because that means that you need to sign a lot of people and you're going to overpay because you're going to panic. And that's what I see happening right here. I like Whitner. I really like Whitner. He went where the money was. He went to the Browns. I'm not sure about the Dansby deal. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for Dansby. 4 years, $24 million. Hey, they want to throw their money around. Go right ahead. I'm okay with where the Packers are right now. Like you said, an hour and a half into free agency. I think some moves are going to get done, Evan.
Yeah, they're also trying to trade for Darrelle Revis, too.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, though. I mean, I was watching that this morning on NFL AM. But let's talk about the Packers and where we see them going, and let's talk real. I mean, we joked about it, but really, did you expect anything to go down today with the Green Bay Packers?
No, I didn't really expect too much to go down at all. The Packers had interest in Lamar Houston, a guy I mentioned a few weeks back when we were talking free agency, as somebody the Packers should go into, and they also had interest in Arthur Jones, another guy that I said that they should really look into. They did have interest in them, but when the Redskins put the franchise tag on, was it Brian Orakpo?
Yep.
And then the Panthers put the franchise tag on their big D end. It really put Houston and Jones in line for big paydays. So when those guys got franchised, as much as I would want to see them in Green Bay, you knew it wasn't going to happen because you would have teams like the Chicago Bears who lost out on Michael Bennett, who decided to stay in Seattle. You had them who now, in desperation mode, threw a lot of money at Houston, probably more than he would have got if those guys were not franchised. And then the Colts signed Arthur Jones, who has who's familiar with Chuck Pagano in Indianapolis during his time in Baltimore, and you had the Colts bring him in. If the Packers were going to pounce on anyone early, it probably would have been one of those two if the price didn't go too high. But since the price did, it's going to go to same old Ted Thompson. Is he going to wait till everything settles down, see what's out there before he decides if he's going to try to sign anybody or not? But I'm not surprised at all. I'm more interested in seeing what the Packers do tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. That's what I'm more interested in.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Evan. The one thing that I'm seeing, though, that I've seen a couple safeties come off the board, a couple of safeties already signed. So I'm hoping that we don't just jump out there now and I call it paying off the cuff. We don't have to panic, but we've seen a couple safeties go now. We know we need safety help, and even if we get a safety in the draft, we've talked about this. I think only Pryor's the guy that's NFL ready to start. I'm not sure if Dix can. So even if we would get him, I'm not sure if he's a first-year starter. Very well could be. I don't know. But we don't even know if that's the way Ted Thompson's going. But me personally, as a fan, I'm seeing a couple safeties get signed today. Scares me a little bit. Scares me a little bit that we're not going to be able to.
What amount of safeties have?
What was that? You cracked up a little bit, bud.
I said a good amount of safeties have. I said a good amount of safeties have signed already, and I'm looking at how free agency is going right now. You have T.J. Ward off the board to the Broncos. You have, we already talked about Whitner going to the Browns.
Yep.
The Bears just signed Ryan Mundy. He just signed with the Bears. All these safety signing, all that's going to do is eventually drive Jarius Bird's contract down. Yep. Because the three teams that are interested at NFL.com has listed Cleveland, Seattle, and Washington. Well, St. Louis, I'm sorry, not Seattle, St. Louis, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Washington. Cleveland just signed the safety with Whitner.
Yeah, I don't see
Washington, they don't really have much of an issue throwing money around, but, they may. And then St. Louis, I don't see St. Louis really making a big push for him. I might be surprised, but that's going to start driving Bird's price down. And then there's Chris Clemens from the Dolphins, who's a 28-year-old safety with the Dolphins, and he hasn't signed with anybody yet from last I saw. So Bird's price is going to start to drop a little bit, and who knows, what Ted Thompson does best is he's going to wait till things settle down, and then he'll move in. He did the same thing with Charles Woodson. He went after Charles Woodson after most teams told him no. And Whitner's contract is worth 4 years and $28 million.
Not bad. $7 million for a safety. I mean, that's not ridiculous. when you look at what Shields just signed, so that's not it's not out of the ballpark. But I agree with you. I'm looking at it. There are still some good safeties out there, and Packer fans, just because, and we talked about the report from Rappaport that he said Ted Thompson was going to be more aggressive in free agency. Well, you have to understand that there's a lot of time left in free agency. And like you said, if you go to NFL.com and pull up the players by position, there are a lot of safeties out there that I still like. There's a lot out there, Evan, that I think could really help the Packers. And I think you actually hit it right on the head. Ted Thompson's not going to overreact. He's going to wait, see what happens. He probably has a handful of guys targeted, again, if that's a position he's going to look at. And so when I look at it, I'm okay. I'm with you. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days as these teams panic and throw the money out. So let's talk about some of our guys. Let's go to the list. I know we have some updates of where people are going to visit. Let's talk about the Packers. The free agencies, we know where some people are going to go. Fill the listeners in, Evan, on our free agents and where their visits are scheduled for.
Well, the first one we didn't get into yesterday, Packers did re-sign one of their own in Sam Shields, and if Sam Shields would have hit the open market, he would have been one of these, I'm pretty sure, that money would have been thrown at immediately. So the Packers were smart and I'm not a big fan of the money, the 4-year, $39 million, $12.5 million signing bonus. I'm not a huge fan of that, just under $10 million a year, but, now they don't have to rebuild the corner position as they're trying to rebuild the safety position. So Shields is back for, long term. Now Evan Smith is set to visit Tampa Bay. The work talk yesterday that he was pretty much a done deal going to the Giants, where I guess the Giants are deciding not to pursue him as he's on his way to Tampa Bay for a visit. So we'll see if Tampa Bay decides to sign him, which the Giants would have been a great fit for Dedrick Smith because Ben McAdoo, former quarterbacks coach for Green Bay, is in New York. So that kind of surprised me a little bit that they're not going after him. But Jermichael Finley is going to be visiting Seattle, so we'll see what happens there. And I guess James Jones is talking with the Lions. The Lions are showing some interest in James Jones, which I don't think the Lions pull that trigger at all.
No, I don't see that happening. I mean, proximity is one thing, but I don't see him. I don't see him being in the ballpark to offer Jones a contract to be the second receiver, next to Megatron. But then again, this is the crazy world of the NFL, Evan. But I don't see James Jones coming back to Green Bay.
Yeah.
The analysis on NFL.com.
I don't either. I also don't see him going. I also don't see him going to the Lions either.
No, I mean, here's the analysis on NFL.com. Jones is a smart, tough receiver who is dynamic after the catch. Could be a bargain despite his inconsistent hands. And when I read that, and just again, me, the idiot with an opinion. A bargain despite his inconsistent hands means that I know he's ranked highly in some of these lists as a receiver, but that probably doesn't mean that the money's going to get thrown out there that he's really expecting. And so, when you look at that, I mean, who knows what those words mean. So when we look at the list where the Packers are, it's kind of the same thing. Nobody really off the list today. I thought that Raji might get a little more interest on day one, but again, it's still early. I haven't heard any updates on anybody interested or any visits planned for B.J. Raji. Have you?
I haven't heard anything. And Jason Wilde from GSP Milwaukee just tweeted out just to give our Packer fan listeners a chance to relax a little bit. In 2006, the Packers signed Marquand Manuel on March 13th, Ryan Pickett on March 15th, and Charles Woodson on April 26th. Free agency began that year on March 3rd. So for those freaking out that, oh my God, the Packers are being quiet again, it's only now just over 90 minutes into the NFL new year. Just chill. If Thompson's going to sign someone, he's going to not do it immediately. And Jarius Byrd is on his way to visit the Saints.
Why do you always got to steal my thunder?
Tweeted out.
You got to steal my thunder, Evan. Come on, I got my Twitter up too.
Because I read your mind, I guess.
Taking my Twitter. Taking my Twitter glory away. Taking my Twitter glory away. But that is unexpected. Like Rappaport put in his tweet. Interesting. Jarius Byrd set to visit the Saints. Unexpected suitor. Very much unexpected. But hey.
Yeah. Oh, you got yours from Ian Rappaport. I got mine from Adam Scheffler.
Yeah. I got Rappaport.
That man's been a tweeting monster today.
Yeah, I got Schefter and Rappaport that I'm following, and I just see that one right there. But Rappaport beat him to it. It's like a Twitter war. It's fun to watch these things. So I want to throw something out at you as we're talking about free agency, and the one thing that I was joking with some guys at work today, and Hakeem Nicks sending letters to 31 teams. I don't think he sent a letter to his old team, the Giants. What do you think about that? What do you think about Nicks?
He's got a lot of proving to do. I honestly don't. He's looking, I think, for a longer term contract, but I think his best bet would have signed a short-term deal. He's got a lot of proving to do. He had a horrible season last year. He did not score a touchdown, and he lost, quite a bit of play time last season. And he had some knee issues in the past too, foot issues, I believe. So who knows, how 100% healthy he is. So his best bet would be to sign a short-term deal. Kind of a 1 or 2 year prove it kind of deal. So what the Packers are trying to do with BJ Raji. Raji decided to test the market, but it is kind of interesting that he sent letters to all NFL teams trying to convince them to sign, and that's kind of, head scratcher a little bit. He's taking all the leverage out of his court and putting it onto the team's court.
Yeah.
So he's got no wiggle room at all.
Yeah, I found it kind of interesting, a guy of that talent to have to go to those measures, to send letters to a team. But, like you said, now what he's got to do is, hope that somebody bites. But if he was hoping for a big payday, he's not going to get it, knowing that letters have went out to every team. I mean, I don't think it's a smart move, but he went out and did it. I'm on board with you that I think he needs to sign one of those prove-it deals. Go out, take that 1 year deal, 2 year deal, go out there and play the game, because he didn't have a great year last year. Not a great year by any means. So when we're looking at this, Evan, with the activity that's went on, it looks like the Falcons are the team that are making the move today, signing 3 people already. What do you take with that? They signed, I have no idea, Saliea, Tyson Jackson, and John Asamoah. So they've went out. They've been busy today. What do you think about the Falcons?
Yeah, well, the Falcons, they took a big step back. They were a team that was at the cusp of representing the NFC in the Super Bowl not long ago. I think 2 years ago, and to last year where they just absolutely sucked. So they need to take a big step forward, and part of the reason why they sucked so much was the play of their defense, especially their defensive line. So getting Jackson, who can stop the run, and you look at the division they play in, it kind of makes your head scratcher why they want to, stop the run. I mean, other than Carolina, Tampa Bay doesn't really have that strong a running game, and the Saints don't run the ball really at all. But, they got 2 big run stuffers, but they're trying to, make a big push in the NFC and get back to the playoffs and get back to trying to get to the Super Bowl. They have a heck of a young quarterback who's not getting any younger, and Matt Ryan. He's not, I wouldn't call him an elite quarterback quite yet, but he's pretty darn good. And the Falcons need to get that defense stronger because, offensively they have Julio Jones coming back healthy, and Roddy White gets to get healthy during the off season. But the Falcons are trying to get back into that playoff push. And if you look at what teams like the Carolina Panthers are doing, in either going to trade or release Steve Smith, and then the Saints releasing a lot of people, the Falcons have a window of opportunity to take that division back.
Yeah, it's crazy. I refreshed the NFL.com and a couple of things. The Vikings have just signed defensive tackle Linval Joseph from the Giants. Darren McFadden will re-sign with the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's crazy as we sit here and watch. In our show this week, I know it's Packers Talk Tuesday, but when you look at it, it's NFL free agency. And to be honest, when we talk about Packers Talk, I don't think you're going to disagree with me. There's not going to be much to talk about today. There may be not much to talk about tomorrow, maybe even Thursday, Evan. But where I see the show going this week, where I see it going this week is we're going to talk about free agency and just throw our opinions out about things going on in free agency. What do you think about the Jaguars trading Gabbert to the 49ers for a 6th-round pick? What do you think about that?
There's just a long line of failed quarterback draftings and quarterback signings by the Jaguars. They got a couple good years out of Brian Leftwich, but he wasn't the franchise quarterback they expected. They got a couple good years, out of Gerard, but he wasn't the franchise guy. And then they thought that Blaine Gabbert, whatever a Blaine Gabbert is, they thought he was going to be that franchise turnaround quarterback, and they were gravely mistaken. And now they're going to be relying on either a rookie they're going to draft this year, or Chad Henne to be the quarterback this year to try to turn them around. I know Jacksonville now has new ownership. I know they now have a new coach, but that Gabbert move is just a desperation move, and that shows you that quarterbacks can get overvalued in a hurry if they don't if they don't have a quarterback already on the roster, and Jacksonville did it when they drafted Gabbert. And now I can't remember if he was a number one pick overall. I know he was a top 5 pick, but now you're trading a guy you drafted, your number one pick overall. You're trading him for a 6th-round draft pick. That's not really a good return on investment, if you ask me.
I'm just laughing because, again, you say exactly what I was just going to say, Evan. What does that tell you about the Jaguars? I thought they reached when they drafted Gabbert where they did, to go out, and they kind of panicked with the quarterbacks flying, and they picked Gabbert. So they're going to have to do it again. I look at the list of quarterbacks, and I have it up. Who are you going to go out there and sign? You're going to sign Brady Quinn? You're going to sign Seneca Wallace? You're going to sign Matt Flynn? Jimmy Clausen? I look at this list of quarterbacks. The only quarterback, when I look at free agents out there right now, that is going to be probably a legitimate starter is Josh McCown from the Bears. That's the only person I see out there. Maybe Michael Vick, too. I shouldn't say that. Michael Vick could be a quarterback, but he's not going to be your franchise guy. And nor is McCown. He's in his 11th season.
He'll be a guy for a year or two.
So what it's telling me is that I'm seeing the Jacksonville Jaguars go into this draft and probably take a rookie quarterback high again, and they have not done well doing that. Not done well at all. And to only get a 6th-round pick back for Gabbert, that's just crazy. When you look at that, they have not done well with that. So what do you think? While we're on the quarterback situation, let's talk about the Packers, because they're in a situation right now where we got Rodgers, and who would think that the Packers would talk quarterback, right? But with what happened last year, Evan, right now we only have Scott Tolzien. What do you think the Packers are going to do? Do you think they might sign somebody to be a backup? Or do you think they might go into this deep draft and take somebody in the 5th, 6th, 7th round?
I think, because Matt Flynn's not going anywhere. No one's going to sign Matt Flynn.
He's not going to be a starter again.
Going anywhere. And he's not going to sign him for a backup either. Flynn, no one's going to sign him. So I think they go into OTAs and they go into training camp with Scott Tolzien as the primary backup, get a year under his belt in the McCarthy system. And I think they draft a guy late. I think they draft somebody in the 5th, 6th, 7th round to hopefully develop into a backup quarterback. If that doesn't work out, I don't see Matt Flynn signing with anybody between now and the start of the season. So if training camp comes around and Scott Tolzien is showing nothing in training camp and nothing in the preseason, they can go ahead and bring that Matt Flynn back in and give him the backup job.
Awesome.
I don't expect the Packers to do too much in the offseason. The quarterback.
Sounds good. Well, you know what, Evan? We've actually got a caller, Raider Nation 677. We'll let him on the line, and we'll see what he has to say. Welcome to the show, buddy. Who are we talking with today?
Fucking fat piece of shit, motherfucking bitch, faggot.
I'll tell you what, Evan.
Don't worry, I cut him off.
Yeah, so did I. I think we got him at the same time. Well, he must really like free agency. I'll tell you what, he's pretty worked up. I guess when you're a Raider Nation fan, I guess that's the language you have to use. So,
he's the same guy that called in when we first started doing this show too on Blog Talk. He called in before too, and
he found us.
His mom must not have taught him, or the schools that he had growing up must not have taught him to very good vocabulary, because he seems to only know how to say, I guess, inappropriate language and derogatory language. So he must not have learned very good vocabulary. So whatever school you went to, Raider Nation, I'm sure they're very proud of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, that was nice, too. Not even a phone number, because, I have the list. I have his phone number on here. Remember when that happened? I put together a list. I got it right on my desk with a Post-it pad, of numbers of people that are, and I just call it ridiculous. It's ridiculous stuff. You have nothing better to do to call and drop the F-bomb, on the show, which is cool. I had tweeted out to Tony Lynn today, Evan, about, don't change who you are. Some people like you, some people don't. Hey, if you don't like our show, that's fine. Not everybody's going to like our show, are they, bud? And to be honest, you and I don't care. We're going to do this every day because that's just what we do. We like to talk sports. But, let's get back on track. I was going to let a call in, thought maybe some intelligent being would call on the line. But I'm with you there. I just wanted to throw that out since we were talking quarterbacks.
He's definitely giving a bad name to Raider fans. I know not all Raider fans are complete and utter morons like that gentleman who called, and I hope he's still listening and he heard me call him a complete and utter moron. I know not all Raider fans are like that, but he does give a really bad name to Raider fans.
Yeah.
90 seconds.
So it certainly does. I've never had a chance to go out to a game, but, now when I look at it, I'm like, only thing I'm going to remember about Raider fans is the guy that's called our show. And it's kind of crazy. So, but with that said, I just refreshed again, and it does look like that the Jets have a very serious interest in bringing Michael Vick in for a visit, and they're also interested in McCown, but he's visiting Tampa first.
60 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm seeing the shit.
We could talk on Twitter Tuesday about the Michael Vick to the Jets. That's something that I tweeted about yesterday regarding why you just drafted Geno Smith, and we can talk about that a little bit tomorrow for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be talking free agency. This is one of those things. I thought you were going with Geno Smith. You drafted him, and now you're looking at Vick and McCown. I mean, there's something going on there, and it just goes to be like, panic mode. You don't. I know you want to win, but man, I just don't understand. So. It's going to be a crazy week on the Ramble, Evan. I mean, it's free agency, so most of our conversations from here on out are going to be based on free agency. I know we have Dave Radcliffe on Thursday, and he will definitely throw in some things with us. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes with all this talk. But with that said, Bud, I'll let you close the show out today. Another good show, just free agent talk. Just you and I talking free agency. Love the show again today, Bud. But go ahead, wrap it up for the fans.
Yeah, it was another great show, another great opportunity to talk Packers. You know how much I love doing that, and we didn't talk as much Packers as we probably could have, being that there's so much going on in the NFL today. But we're going to talk more free agency tomorrow and Twitter talk, and go ahead and let us know some topics you want us to talk about. And if you're an idiot Raider fan, don't bother calling in anymore, please. Keep your opinions about yourself to yourself. I apologize that you feel that way about yourself. You don't have to share that with the rest of us. Just keep that to yourself. But, give the show a listen tomorrow. Should be another great show. Probably break down some of these signings. Probably do some NFL talk tomorrow. So it's just going to be a great show.
Yeah, we've already got some involvement. I mean, our Twitter talk, on Wednesday, one of my followers, Marcel Murick, wants us to talk NFL free agency. I mean, that is basically what everybody's saying about Twitter talk, Evan. They want to hear about NFL free agency, and they will. And we'll definitely have some more news about the NFL. And then he wanted us to talk about the Seahawks and Giants. So I made a note of it. We'll definitely talk Seahawks and Giants. We talked about it. Jermichael Finley set to visit the Seahawks. But we'll definitely talk a little bit about the Seahawks and Giants tomorrow, a little more in depth. As always, everyone, thanks for listening. We appreciate your loyalty to the Red Light Sports Ramble. I wish Raiders Nation 677 the best of nights, because we are much better than you to be able to handle a call like that. So I had to throw that in, Evan. But for everyone else that's listening in, have a great night. We'll catch you at the next red light. We'll get back at you tomorrow.